All right, good morning, and if you would please, phones, if you go to Remind 101, or not Remind, Google Classroom, and you type in this code, it's going to take y'all directly to the Google Classroom that I have made specifically for our biology team, and it's going to have links to all of the things that I have created specifically for this, including the presentation, which I'm going to upload a little bit later. So I'll give y'all a second to go ahead and start on that. If you have any questions, I can start with questions. All right, well then y'all help me start with good things. We have any good things? Good things? Highlights? Lowlights? Hey, coffee. Coffee is always a good start, yes. What else though?
Cultural extravaganza was awesome.
Cultural extravaganza was awesome. How many of y'all went? Anybody aside from Delongo? So the kids I know performed. I know the performance was seen all the way in New Zealand in a live stream.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that was really, really cool. Our kids got the opportunity to perform. Anything else good? Anything else good? Today is Friday. It's always good when we have a Friday. One more week until spring break. Let's get this week gone by. All right. So let me switch gears real quick. I'm going to go ahead and take this part off the screen and just kind of show you what we've got going right here. Let me see if I can get this thing to pop up. No, I don't want that anymore. All right. Let me just try to re-log into this. All right, so when you get into the classroom, what you're going to see here is I have put up some digital examples of what we're going to do because of the simple fact that being the new age that we are, kids have access to this all the time, whether it's on their phones, whether it's with a laptop, with a tablet. We want to make sure that they have access to doing some of the strategies that we're going to talk about today wherever they are. So the biggest thing I can tell you is I've given y'all access to these Google documents that you're going to see. If you share it with your kids, make sure that they are making a copy. Or however you want to edit it on there, to if you are the only one that has the editing rights for this, but they make a copy of it. That way, they're not writing through your copy, but they still have the opportunity to do the same thing. So we know that writing today is quite a bit different than writing when we were learning. And we want them to be able to use technology the right way in order to get the right concepts that we're trying to drive home. And that's a big part of what we're going to talk about today. But where I want to start, if I can pull this up real quick, shift gears here, and I'm going to go to present. So today, the big topic that I want to cover is using AVID strategies to help biology students succeed. So number one, we already do an incredible job of making sure our kids get all the tools that they need to be successful in the classroom on a daily basis. This is not supposed to in any way, shape, or form change what you do. This is supposed to be a tool that you can use to help you assist the students even further. This is supposed to supplement what you're already doing. And oftentimes when we go through this, it's actually, we start thinking about all the things that we're already doing in class. And so hopefully when I go through some of these ideas, it's going to pop into your brain the things that you're already doing very, very well in this regard. So please don't think of this as me trying to tell you, I need you to change this, I want you to change this. I just want you to use this in a way that's going to suit you best. We are an AVID campus, if you don't already know that. We have several teachers. Shannon is one, I'm another, Craig Koch is another, Miss Mao, Susie Mao is one, and Miss Faison, and I'm missing one. Who am I missing? I see.
Rose?
Yes, Rose Petty John. So each of us attend AVID training on a yearly basis. And so the strategies that you're going to see here, we each implement in our own unique ways in class. But what I wanted to give you today was a couple things that it doesn't matter what class you teach, it doesn't matter what level you teach, whether we're talking about on level, whether we're talking about pre-AP, whether we're talking about AP. All of the levels can use these strategies effectively at all times. So if I start with that idea here of what AVID is, I should really begin with what it is not. AVID is not a strategy just to be used for our low-level learners. It never has been and it never will be. Okay? it is something that we can utilize as teachers to make sure that all of our kids are on the same level. We can use it to cross those gaps that exist between our high-level kids and our low-level kids, because in this particular lesson, in this particular way of thinking, the learning is equitable for everybody. So as you see some of the stuff we put up here, just be thinking about that. Be thinking about the ways that you can use this across all of your levels, and not simply for our low-level kids and our ones who are really struggling. Okay, so what I want to start with is this question. And I'm going to write some of these ideas on the board just so we can kind of see it as well as hear it. What are some of the ways in which your kids, your students, are struggling with the concept material on a daily basis? Whatever it is in biology. Right now we're talking about mutations. We're talking about genetics. Okay, so we have application is one way how they can apply the materials on a daily basis. We have prior knowledge. That is one way in which our kids struggle with material. What's some other stuff that...
Communication. Like
okay.
If I ask them to write down incomplete sentences, what do you understand this? Like I ask them to write up, what do you understand about mutation in complete sentences?
All right. So communication, can they... Oh, man, that's a weird T. Can they write this information down in complete sentences? So if we're using some sort of writing ability, do they have that they can work with on a daily basis? Can they effectively do it, or are they just putting a capital letter start and a period end and calling it a sentence? Okay, that's fair. Anything else that we're struggling with?
Vocabulary.
Okay, so vocabulary is a key to biology. It always has been, and it always will continue to be so. Vocabulary skills on a daily basis in the classroom, they absolutely have to have it. And if they can unlock those vocabulary skills on the STAR test, they're going to pass. They're going to do very, very well. Okay? Anything else that we can discuss that's going to be problematic?
Organization.
Okay, so how they organize. I had to change markers here because this other one was killing me. So organization being a big deal. Okay? So let's think about that for just a minute. Are there anything else that you can come up with that is causing struggles in the classroom? All right, so application, prior knowledge, communication, vocabulary, organization.
Maybe engagement. They're just kind of not involved in the content. They don't really, it's so abstract to them. I know with protein synthesis, it's just something that they can't physically see and put their hands on, so it's hard for them to get engaged with how and when this is happening. Right.
So engagement in the concepts, how do we get them to break through that? This generation is very much, they need that first thing right away. It's got to catch them, or else it's not anything that they're interested in, right? They'd rather just pull out the phone and play on the phone. So one idea that you can take from this, in a completely different training that I've done, the idea was having some sort of phenomenon piece. Some sort of a phenomenon. Something that when you start the whole lesson, maybe it feels like it's not actually on topic. Maybe it feels like it's something completely random that you've pulled out, but it's something that grabs them right away. So when we were talking about DNA replication, when we were talking about making new DNA, when we were talking about viruses, and we were talking about bacteria, and we were talking about basically our microbiology section. One of the biggest things that came out, we were talking about, the kids wanted to know about, was CRISPR. And I got that in kind of a pre-conversation with them, was this idea of CRISPR. What is CRISPR? And as I was doing my research, I came across the article of the scientist who was at Rice University who went and did his presentation in China, and he announced to the world that he had used CRISPR to gene edit some babies to make them not susceptible to HIV. Right? And this was big news. But the kids didn't know that. So when they read it, they were just, the whole class period, all they wanted to do was talk about what it was. What did it mean? And what that did for me is it unlocked a whole sequence of things that for the kids, now all of a sudden they're engaged. They got it. They're in. They want to know more about it. And this is where we got to start talking about DNA replication. And then we could lead into protein synthesis. And it all came from this one idea of having that phenomenon piece to really start the process of learning in our class. So that's a little bit of an aside from what I really wanted to get at with you today, but just be thinking about that as we go through. Have that piece that you can really grab the kids with. If we start off the right way, it doesn't matter who we are. If we can get to talking about the implications of, say, using CRISPR to gene edit a baby, what does that mean? What does that mean for us as a species? What does it mean for the future of science? You know, the biggest thing they wanted to talk about was why the very next day he went gone. He's disappeared. Nobody can find him anymore. And they wanted to know why. But it gave us the opportunity to talk about what his research really did for us. So it's just a thought. So I want to go through, we've listed some struggles, we've listed some areas that our kids need help with. So now the question becomes, what can we do about it? Okay, so my topic today is AVID strategies in biology classrooms. I came up with an essential question, which is how can I effectively use these AVID strategies in the classroom to make sure that I can improve student engagement and academic achievement, because that's what we're here for. We want to make sure that our kids feel that they have achieved their goals academically. It provides them the confidence to be able to be successful, not just in the classroom, but outside the classroom. And then from that, as a content objective, Delon, would you read that content objective for me?
By the end of the training, I will understand how the use of Y-core strategies can be utilized along with Cornell notes to positively affect student engagement, classroom ownership, and academic achievement.
So the big key things here, student engagement, classroom ownership, and academic achievement. Those three things are all tied together. And we have ways that on a daily basis that we can positively affect those three areas and help our kids feel better and more confident in the material. Okay, so that's what I'm going to talk about today. That's what I'm going to look at. So start with this idea. What is AVID? AVID stands for Advancement via Individual Determination. So right off the bat, what does this make you think when you see individual determination? What's the focus here?
It's tailored.
What is it? I'm sorry?
It's tailored to one, like for one student.
Not just tailored for one student. It's tailored for every student. Self-accountability. So this is that ownership piece. AVID is a way in class on a daily basis that we can get our kids to really own what they're doing. We can make this unique to them, right? Y'all know that keyword, the lovely keyword of differentiation? AVID gives us our differentiation because it is specific to every child. It's unique to every child, but you can use it in every class for every child, okay? This is why we have spent a whole lot of time going to these AVID conferences, and if you have the opportunity, I really suggest you do. There are some specific science ones that I'm actually taking some information from today that is going to be very helpful in the future. So I want to provide y'all with this. This is what AVID is. And the beauty of it is that AVID is for everybody. So one of the main ideas in AVID, two of the main ideas I should say, are these strategies right here. The first one is called Wicker, and the second one is called Cornell Notes. Okay? Now, think of Wicker as the overarching idea. Okay? You're not going to necessarily use each of these strategies every single day. But each of these strategies can be used daily in your class. It just matters how you adjust it. So this is the beauty, the flexibility of Wicker, and we're going to talk about what that means. Now, this one here, the second one, Cornell Notes. If you ask our kids, they can all tell you horror stories about Cornell Notes. And they can all tell you why they don't like Cornell Notes. What I want y'all to start taking into your classes is if your kids use Cornell Notes, if you want to use Cornell Notes, give them the ideas that they understand. Cornell Notes are all about them. It's all about them. There are some suggested ways that we can use Cornell Notes, but more specifically, there are ways that they can tailor it to them to a way that makes sense. Okay? I heard stories from people that said when we went to college, we were already doing Cornell Notes before they became Cornell Notes. I, on the other hand, was trying to write down every single word that my professor said, and I had a professor that literally read from the book that he wrote every single day. And there was no way to write down every single word. Cornell Notes gives us the ability to take even a situation like that and flip it and turn it into something that is useful for us. So I'm going to show you some examples in a minute. But what is Wicker? This is where we want to start. Okay? WICR stands for Writing,